No reply. Called him again, no reply. Well, at least it's flying, I think. And then, you know, when you hear a microphone open and you hear a bit of gentle breathing, but you know someone's there, and I can hear this crinkle of paper. And of course, they used to carry the chart on their knee, you know. And I'm thinking, he's going to say something to me, and sure enough, he says, Double, quiz show 1, 2, 3. The boys down aft say that they can see a star or two up there to the northwest. Now, I'm looking at this here chart, man. You've got some damn funny places out here in Aussie land. Now, a place over here called Coonambley. Now, where's Coon? No. Coonambley, that's not for us. Cobar? No, Cobar too far. Ah, just the spot. I'm looking at this here chart and I can see a marvellous little airport called Walgett. We're going to head up there to Walgett. And I'm thinking, Sunday night, 1961, he's going to fly up to Walgett Airport and land this great big 4-engine plane. But that was what he wanted to do. Now, I had to contact the airport. That's okay. I had to contact the airport up there, see? So, I got the old-fashioned phone, puts it to me ear. Nothing. And then I hears a funny noise. And I realised what it is. It was the clicking of knitting needles. And then a voice said, "Yes, airport." Now, as I said, we had procedures for everything. And I'd learned only a year or two before in the training. All I had to say was the magic word 3 times, and every telephonist in Australia would know what it meant and would put me through. So I said, "Air flash, air flash, air flash." "Beg your pardon?" I said, "Please put me through to Walgett Airport, immediately, very urgent." No reply. Nothing. Click. "Hello? Hello, Switch, you there? You there, Switch? Hello? Yes, airport. How's my call? Where's my air flash going to Walgett?" "I'm sorry, sir. All the lines are busy." I said, "I don't care if they're busy. This is a matter of life or death. This is really urgent. Put me through now. Put me through now. Your job's on the line, lady. Put me through now." There's no need to be rude, young man. So eventually I get through to Walgett. The lady there's got a bit more nous, and she's thinking, "What am I going to do? Sunday night, big plane. Ah, they'll be up the pub." So she rings the pub. Next moment, "Senior Constable O'Reilly, what can I do for you, lad?" And I tell him the plane's coming up. "Well," he said, "oh, we've got to do something." Now, you've got to hand it to those country fellas. I don't know how they did it, but they all jumped in their utes and they flashed out to the airport. All their runway, all their lights on the plane, they're putting out pots and lighting them. And the next moment, double, this is quiz show 1, 2, 3. We're in the circuit area at Walgett and we're landing now. I said, "Roger that, call me on the ground. Quiz show 1, 2, 3, thank you very much. And one last thing you can do for us, buddy, if you don't mind." And I said, "What's that?" "Would you mind booking me and the boys into a good motel?" Thank you. Please, that one. I know that at least 2 of my stories were just things that I overheard at the office when people are talking among themselves. 2 stories, one called Korean Christmas. It's a very pathetic, very moving story. But I won't tell you that one now, it's very short. And another one was, I'd overheard these 2 fellows talking about what had happened to them as far as going to New Guinea in World War II. And the story was very brief. It was just a little exchange which would have taken no more than a couple of minutes. But I managed to pad it out into the story. And the story starts like this. They'd kept him on because of the war. At 68, Gerald Ferguson was already 3 years past retiring age. But they couldn't retire him because there were no replacements. You see, all the younger men had gone off to war. They joined the Navy, the Army, or the Air Force. And so Gerald was alone at his place of work. Now, Gerald worked as a station master at Barcoo Crossing on the Queensland Railways on the coast. And Gerald had worked for the railway since he started as a boy of 15. Worked himself up doing the examinations, and at one stage when he became station master at Barcoo Crossing, he actually had 6 employees, but they'd all gone except for young 16-year-old Johnny Johnson. What Gerald liked above all things was he liked to signal the arrival of the big steam trains coming in from the south and the north. And his pride and joy was his station master's bell. It belonged to the Queensland Railways, of course. It had on it big bold letters, Barcoo Crossing, property Queensland Railways. Well, he would swing that bell as the trains came in and as they left. One day he heard a train coming up through the rainforest to the south. Then it crossed the cane fields, coming in quickly. Next moment, stopped. 2 huge steam locomotives and railway carriages which seemed to go back forever. It was a troop train carrying a battalion of soldiers to go north to fight the Japanese along the Kokoda Trail. Well, the first to jump off was the sergeant major, but he swag a stick under his arm. He held up his arms. Stay on board, stay on board. No soldiers are allowed off here. No, just refueling here. Stay on board. But 1,000 young men cannot be contained. Doors burst open all the way along the train on both sides. The soldiers poured out onto the platform. They went down the other side. They're rolling their cigarettes and talking among themselves. And a little group of them moved towards the station master's office. Well, they weren't there very long. They were just taking on water for the steam engines. And of course, the sergeant major was in charge. So he said, all aboard, come on, you doggy soldiers, move it. Doors slamming all the way along, and then off went the train, gathering speed as it went across the cane fields, into the rainforest. All was silent, but for the sound of a whipbird high away in the forest. Gerald walked past Street back to his office, opened the door. The moment he went inside, he knew. Where is it? Where is it? Somebody's stolen the station master's bell. Well, he was ropeable. He knew that it had to be the soldiers, no one else. Well, he stopped the train. He got on the telegraph and he stopped. No. There was no phone, he said. They're not going to stop a troop train with 1,000 men on board to go into a war to get back his bell. Well, the bell was lost. Right at that time, the bell resided in the kit bag of one cook, Jerry Smith. Jerry Smith was a cook, and he knew that he could use that bell to great effect, because when they went up to the front lines, it would serve pay rations and cold food. Now and again, they'd be further enough behind the lines where he could ring the bell to tell the soldiers there was hot food. Well, the bell was with that battalion when they got on the old Bololo and sailed to Port Moresby. They got off at the Burnsfield Wharf, and sure enough, the bell was still with them when they moved up to Brown's Crossing and then around Owen Corner and up the Kokoda Trail. The bell was still with them that first night when they were huddled on the front lines, knowing that the Japanese were only on the next ridge. It was cold that night. There they were. They thought it was going to be tropical and hot, but they were shivering up in the highlands. Well, they waited there. The sergeant major said, no smoking, no cold, no hot food, keep it quiet. The enemy are only on the next ridge, keep it down. But then, as the night progressed, the dawn shot a wan finger across from the east, light lit up the ground. They realised that the ridge, which they thought was only a few hundred yards away, was a good mile away. The enemy were a good mile away. Out came the bell, ding, 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 ding. Come on now, soldiers, hot food today, hot food, ding, 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 ding. And they all came out, summoned by the bell, and had a nice, hearty, hot meal. The bell was still with them when they started to force the Japanese back. And the bell was still with them one day when the cook came out out of the cook camp, swinging the bell, ding, 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 just as 3 Zeros dashed out of the sun, flew across the camp, firing machine gun bullets and cannons everywhere. Bang! One struck the bell, sent pins and needles all through Jerry's arm as he fell on the ground. But he survived. The cannon shell had been deflected by the bell. Now the bell became a lucky bell. This was the battalion's pride and joy, the lucky bell. It was said that even the Japanese were trying to get their hand on it. Of course they never did. The bell was still with them when they pushed on to Gona and Buna. It was still with them when they moved up the coast, bypassing Wewak and going up to Wanamo. The bell was still with them when a huge B-29 bomber by the name of the Enola Gay crossed the coast of Honshu, dropped a bomb called Little Boy on Hiroshima. Boom! 80,000 of the enemy dead in one hit. Boom! Nagasaki was next. Within a week, the Japanese had surrendered on the quarterdeck of the Great Missouri. Now the battalion with the bell could come home, because they were told they couldn't come home. Now they had to go to all the Japanese prisoner of war camps and release the soldiers who hadn't had a decent feed in 3 years. Out came the bell, ding, 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 ding. Come and get it, you soldiers. Come and get a real meal for once. Ding, 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 ding. And the soldiers came, these moving skeletons of men who hadn't eaten anything really decent in years. The battalion with a bell fed them. But now the war was over, and of course the battalion had to come home. In the meantime, back in Barcoo Crossing, Gerald Ferguson was now 3 years older, and he was alone now, because his offsider, young Johnny Johnson, who was 16, told the army he was 18. They'd taken him. Now his remains lay in the Bromana War Cemetery up in the Old Standings. Gerald was walking along the station when he heard the train coming in from the north. Just one more troop train coming south. The ones that came south had half the numbers that had gone north earlier. He heard this train coming in across the cane field. Next moment, into the station. No sergeant major jumping out this time. Just a few soldiers, a dozen or so, came around, and they were milling around the station master's office. Of course, he had no bell now. He said, all aboard, come on, all aboard. Bang, 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 doors shutting all along the train. Woof, 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 woof. Off went the train, gathering speed as it went across the cane field, into the rainforest. Silence. Nothing but that baby-like cry of a crow high up, heading homewards. Gerald walked back to his office. He opened the door. He couldn't believe it. Standing there on a mahogany base, on Greenbelt, it had to be, it had written on it, Barcoo Crossing, Property Queensland Railway. The bell had returned. You like it, son? You like it? Thank you very much for attending. We've had a great time. We hope that you've had a great time. Hope you've earned a lot and learned a lot. So with that, we'll bring the evening to a conclusion. Thank you.